Oh, man, what is this? Ryan Garcia does not like the Devin Haney fight happening in New York. On the East Coast, he says it's a West Coast fight. Will the fight be canceled? Will the fight get postponed? All of this right after Golden Boy announces the fight. Ryan says, do not believe everything that you hear. What the is going on? What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Ryan Garcia has had a lot to say regarding his upcoming fight. Now, Golden Boy just put out a brand new flyer. DAZN also posted it, and it says Haney Garcia, and it says the fight will take place at the Barclays Center in New York. Ryan Garcia has just now shocked the world with this tweet. He says, this is an MGM Vegas fight, doing everything we can to bring this to Las Vegas and giving this fight what it deserves. What? This is unheard of. Welcome to the show. Ryan Garcia also posted this tweet on his Instagram, and he says, and I quote, "If you haven't seen me post it, then it's not entirely true." So this is unheard of, people, where Ryan Garcia, he's in a contract with Golden Boy Promotions. They're posting the flyer for Haney Garcia. We got word last week that the press conference are 2 days next week, Tuesday and Thursday, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast. Probably put that Wednesday in there with no activity as a buffer to fly from coast to coast, because that's a lot for the crew and for the fighters and stuff like that. That's definitely a lot when you have to do all that flying, so maybe they want the fighters to rest. So no biggie. Then they post the actual flyer, a newer version, and moments later, Ryan Garcia takes to his social media and basically is telling the world, do not believe everything that you hear. Don't believe it unless you heard it from me. So now you can't even necessarily trust the actual promotion. The fighter saying, trust me. I don't know what this is about. We do know that Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia have recently been at odds. We know that Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia, at his last fight for Oscar Duarte, Ryan Garcia, he was saying a lot. He was seemingly taking shots at Oscar De La Hoya, at Bernard Hopkins, and all in all, it was a bad look, in my opinion. It's a bad look when you have the fighter and he's signed to a promoter he doesn't look like he wants to be signed to, and he's taking shots at his promotional outfit, and his promotional outfit, they're taking shots at the fighter. It's just a bad marriage, especially you have to think about what I'm saying. You're selling a product. If the product looks broken, who wants to buy it? Meaning, if Golden Boy, their job is to promote. So as a promoter, your job is to promote, and you're almost demoting your fighter by talking down on him. Like, oh, blah, blah, blah. Bernard Hopkins said something to the effect of, I need to see how Ryan Garcia looks post Tank Davis loss and knockout to determine if he should continue fighting. What do you mean? Ryan's 26 years old, somewhere around there, and he's taken one loss, and B-Hop is basically suggesting that Ryan Garcia may need to retire. That doesn't seem like comments that you would typically hear from a promoter who, again, is their job to promote, and they're trying to sell you a product. How are you going to sell someone a product if you're telling the world that the product needs to retire potentially, right? Same thing with Ryan Garcia. It's a bad look. You're signed to these people and you're doing business, breaking bread. They're getting a cut of your money and you don't seem to be happy. So I don't know exactly what is going on, but I do know that this is a terrible look for all parties involved, because fans, they need direction as to what's happening. Ticket sales. I had somebody who said that they had purchased a ticket round trip because they thought the fight was going to be in Las Vegas. And then we find out after all the reports said the fight was going to be in Vegas, you have people who have put out the information that the fight was taking place in New York at the Barclays Center. And then now Ryan adds to the confusion by saying, hey, this is an MGM fight. I'm doing everything that we can do to bring this fight back to Vegas and giving the fight what it deserves. I mean, the wires are definitely crossed. This looks insane to me. Golden Boy's putting out flyers talking about Barclays Center. It's called Brooklyn Boxing. They have a page also that works with the Barclays Center, right? Brooklyn Boxing posted this. DAZN posted this. So Brooklyn Boxing, they're posting like, hey, check out this fight April 20th. So it looks like the venue is booked and everybody's on board except for the main event and the A side potentially, which is Ryan Garcia. So this is not like some undercard, like underling type of fighter where if the undercard gets messed up and the fighter pulls out or something like that, you could just replace him. This is the main event. Like, Devin Haney is a champion. Yes, he has the WBC belt. Yes, but at the same time, people want to see this combination specifically. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Now, even more shocking, Ryan Garcia, this was an edited tweet, but the original said, this is an MGM Vegas fight, doing everything we can to bring this fight to Vegas and giving this fight what it deserves. It's not happening at Barclays, right? So he's making it sound like the fight is canceled, even though he softened it and changed the actual language. He says it's not happening in Vegas, which is, I don't know. Imagine, this is just crazy. Imagine you want to go see this fight and you want to buy tickets to the fight, and then you're seeing all this back and forth. Like, first of all, I don't know for a fact that tickets have went on sale. So that's a starter, right? I don't know if tickets have went on sale. However, just imagine how confusing it is to a fan if Golden Boy's posting flyers, people on YouTube are making videos saying that the fight's now happening at the Barclays Center, and then Ryan Garcia is saying, hey, I don't like New York for it. Ryan also tweeted, this decision has nothing to do with New York City, but everything to do with business and what I believe is the best move for my career. So clear cut, there's some type of friction or disagreement or movement being made without everybody on board. And I told you in my previous video where I was talking about the pay-per-view, everything looks very haphazard, and that's not a good sign. And when you rush plans, when you rush a fight, and when you announce it, because I told you in my previous video, they announced it for the Super Bowl. So I don't know if they were ready to actually fully confirm and announce the fight to the public for the Super Bowl, but maybe they wanted to take advantage because the Super Bowl was happening. So as a result, they maybe prematurely announced it before they crossed their T's and dotted their I's. But this is what happens when you rush your work. It's like doing a test, and you have an hour to take the test and you finish in 15 minutes. And most people aren't these valedictorian scholars and, these scholastic geniuses. So instead of turning in, even if you finished in 15 minutes, maybe you should go over the questions again, reread them to see if you made any mistakes, make sure your Scantron bubbles are fully filled out. But that, if it's an hour and they feel like this test takes an hour and you finished in 10, 15 minutes, maybe there's a problem with that. So I don't know what's going on, but it definitely feels like this fight is rushed. And I keep proving, it's like I told you and then I showed you. I'm the best in the business. The stuff I say, it always makes sense. And I just wait for it to fully make sense. When this fight was supposed to happen in Vegas, that made more sense to me. When they moved it to New York, I said, and I literally, you guys could go watch the videos. The videos are still up. When they moved it to the Barclays Center, I have nothing against the Barclays Center. I actually have had great memories covering fights at the Barclays Center. But I said this particular fight, I look at boxing on a case-by-case basis, and I said this particular fight seems more like a West Coast fight. You got two guys who are from California, Devin from up north where I'm at, Bay Area, and then he moved to Henderson, Nevada or whatever, still West Coast. And you have Ryan Garcia, who's from Victorville, right? So two West Coast guys fighting on the East Coast, and neither one of them have fought in New York in several years, and they definitely haven't fought in New York versus a big name. So I didn't really understand that move, but then, reports came out and said it was because Canelo and PBC had blackout dates and they had the date reserved. So I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. But then now Ryan Garcia doesn't sound satisfied with the fight happening in New York. And then Devin Haney did respond. He said, this dude is planning his escape. He's this ass ninja talking that tough talk, but now he talking like a beezy. So I don't know what's going on. Devin hasn't changed his attitude. Ryan Garcia doesn't seem happy. And again, it doesn't sound like everybody's on board with the same things. Ryan's telling the world, hey, it ain't over or nothing is confirmed until I say. And then Golden Boy is confirming things. So to be honest, this just looks all over the place, and they need to figure this out and figure it out ASAP. As of me recording the video, this is February. We're about to enter March. The fight is in probably like 9 weeks, April 20th, and there's confusion. There's confusion about the pay-per-view, which I've already cleared up. Make sure you guys check out that video about the pay-per-view. There's confusion about that. There is confusion what coast this fight was going to be on. And the funny thing is, you have all these other Facebook groups and content creators and YouTubers and Instagram pages and people on boxing Twitter, and a lot of them, they just go with whatever. Like, they're just saying whatever. Me, I give you my honest, uncut, unadulterated, uncensored opinion. The fight did seem like a West Coast fight. Now Ryan Garcia apparently agrees with Boxingego because he's trying to get the fight pushed to the West Coast. I don't know his rationale. Maybe New York taxes or the tax rate is different or some reason. Maybe he just likes fighting on the West Coast. I don't know. But there's some big reason, or somebody's in Ryan's ear saying, hey, you could make more money in a tourist city like Vegas. That's where all the big fights happen. But then you have other, like I said, you have other content creators and YouTubers and people on Facebook. They just go with the flow and they go with whatever. And when the fight got moved to New York, everybody says they loved it. Everybody says, oh, it makes more sense in New York, just going with the flow. And then now Ryan Garcia, he's not just going with the flow. And now I don't even know. It's up in the air. I guess the fight's still happening in New York per Golden Boy's last post. But Ryan, what if he's saying he's not going to pull out, but this doesn't sound good again for ticket sales? Imagine being executives at the Barclays Center, right? And you thought you had a deal with Golden Boy. They present this fight to you and say, oh, yeah, we got this massive fight that we want to bring, yada, yada, yada. And then the day of that you post a flyer kind of promoting the fight, before you do your first ever press tour and press conference, you have one of the fighters who's like trying to back out of the location. I'm not going to say he's backing out of the fight, but at the very least, he's saying this is the wrong location for the fight. That has to cause some serious concerns. And I would be pissed if I was an executive with the Barclays. Like, yo, I thought we had a deal. What's up? What's up with your fighter putting that? It just makes it all over the place. And then you combine that with the confusion of, hey, the flyer doesn't say anything about pay-per-view, but as I told you, the fight is going to be on pay-per-view in the United States. It's just too confusing, And I really want to say this is what happens sometimes when you try to rush it, when you're trying to be first or, keep up with Gervonta Davis, because Gervonta Davis, he's had the star build and he's had time to grow as a pay-per-view attraction or as an event attraction. And now I think people are trying to rush the magic a bit and make other fighters pay-per-view people, and it's just not mapped out the same. I've never seen this from PBC. I've never seen the Gervonta Davis versus Rolly, Arrow versus Crawford, and then Crawford telling you, oh, I ain't fighting in Vegas. They need to make the fight in New York. I don't want it in Vegas. You've never seen it. And Crawford was new to the PBC circuit, but you've never seen it from an Errol Spence fight. You've never seen it from Gervonta fight, and it's just highly confusing. So I'll keep you guys updated. I don't know why Ryan Garcia had to change of heart, but it's funny. Like I said, you have a lot of content curators and content creators, and they're talking up the Barclay for the purpose of this fight, saying it makes sense just going with the flow. And your boy Ego was like, nah, this is really a West Coast fight. Now you have Ryan agreeing with what Ego says. I got to be the best in the business. Let me know what you guys think of this mess in the comment section. I don't know. I don't even know what's going to happen next, but we'll see. At the press conference, maybe we'll get some clarification why Ryan said that and, what happens now. But for Ryan to be talking about moving the fight once the flyers have already come out and the venue, because even if that's the case, even if the fight moves, I'm not, in charge of event planning for boxing. So maybe I'm wrong. I probably am not because I'm pretty good. But I feel to waste an event, a venue's time, at best, they're going to want you to, if you waste their time and reserve the spot and block other, events from potentially occupying that date and then you cancel, I think they're going to charge you something. You're going to have to, a deposit or something. They're going to keep some of your money because the Barclay could have had a concert, Ice Spice or something concert, if you just couldn't arbitrarily book a venue and then no show or cancel, and then you messed up their money. So as of right now, I guess the fight's still happening at the Barclays Center, but this is just all highly confusing.